I attempted my first Pokemon Nuzlocke. And because I love pain, it's going to be on hardcore difficulty. You guys know the rules. If your Pokemon dies, you must either release it or chuck it in the bin. You can only catch your first encounter in each route. No using items in battle, and scent mode must be turned on. With all of that out of the way, this is how it works. So it starts off with the professor explaining what a Pokemon is. Very useful information. I select the male character and call myself Junkie because that's the channel name. Subscribe. I name my rival Stinky because I don't want to smell him later. Anyway, I go downstairs, say hi to mom, and leave the house to go touch some grass. However, the professor has other plans. I get to choose between Bulbasaur, Squirtle, or Charmander. I pick Bulbasaur because I don't care how many times Game Freak tries to shove Charizard down our throat. Bulbasaur will always be the #1 starter in Kanto. Anyway, I name him Bob. Yes, I know, very original. On my way out, Stinky challenges me to a Pokemon battle, where he proceeds to nearly end our run before it even starts. After that little scare, I make my way through Route 1, where I proceed to fight some rats and quickly make my way to Viridian City to pick up the professor's parcel. I go back down to Pallet Town and give the professor his parcel. In exchange, he gives me and Stinky our very own Pokédex. I leave Pallet Town once again and encounter a Pidgey. This is technically my first encounter, however I have a little brain fart and accidentally run away, which means I fail my first encounter. Don't worry, I make up for it on Route 22 where I catch a Mankey and name her Caesar! Because apes together strong. After beating up some more of Caesar's family, I encounter Stinky who challenges me again, but this time, Bob absolutely bullies his entire team using Leech Seed. I then come across this old man who teaches me how to catch Pokemon. Again, very useful information, write this down. In Route 2, I catch a Rattata and name it Jerry. In Viridian Forest, I encounter a Caterpie and name it Heimlich, because it's gonna become a beautiful butterfly! The rest of my time in the forest was spent fighting bugs. Caesar got poisoned, but apart from that, nothing too serious happened. I arrive at Pewter City, however I don't feel like fighting Brock right now. However, this dude had something to say about it. He drags me to the gym, where I realize that my team is actually a bit underleveled, so I go back to the forest to administer some pest control, during which Heimlich evolves into Metapod. Now that I'm ready, I go back to the first gym. Caesar sweeps the first trainer, no difficulty. And Bob trivializes Brock using Vine Whip and Leech Seed. And with that, we've got our first badge and the TM for Rock Tomb. Leaving Pewter City, I'm stopped by the professor's assistant who gives me the running shoes. With my new Jordans, I run to Route 3 where there are a butt ton of trainers for me to battle. During these battles, Bob becomes an Ivysaur and Heimlich finally becomes a beautiful butterfly! In Route 3, if you're playing on Pokémon Fire Red version, you have a 14% chance of encountering a Nidoran male, who can then be quickly evolved into a Nidoking with access to the move Thrash, which absolutely trivializes the entire game. And because I'm lazy, I wanted one, but this is what I got instead.
What? No! Why couldn't you have been a boy?
So trusted you. I thought I could too.
I was really disappointed, so to reflect my emotion, I decided to name her Dismay. After a quick stop at the Pokemon Center, I entered Mount Moon, where I caught a Zubat and named it I See You, another one, and another one, a Moonstone, another Zubat, some Team Rocket grunts, the Super Nerd. I picked the Helix fossil because praise be to Lord Helix. After finally exiting Mount Moon, I taught Caesar Mega Punch and Mega Kick. Before entering Cerulean City, Stinky challenges me again, and he killed ICU! No! Couldn't see it coming. Stinky felt bad, so he gave me the fame checker to make me feel better. I will have my revenge. Anyway, I spent some time on the bridge leveling up my Pokemon, during which Jerry finally evolved into Eradicate, and Dismay became less of a disappointment. Anyway, at the gym, Jerry absolutely munched on the competition, and Bob did his thing again by turning Misty's Pokemon into fertilizer. Misty gave me my second badge, the ability to use Cut, and the TM for Water Pulse. Next, I head up to Bill's house. I encounter some trainers on the way, but they didn't pose much of a challenge. When I arrive at Bill's house, he was stuck as a Pokemon, but I'm not heartless, so I help him out. As thanks, he gives me a ticket for the SSN. I run down to Route 5 and encounter a Meowth. I name it after Meow from Adventure Time. After which I arrive at Vermilion City, talk to the fan club president, and receive a bike voucher. I enter the SSN where I'm once again challenged by Stinky. Jerry asserts his dominance by sending his Raticate to sleep permanently, thus completing my revenge. I rub the captain's back and receive TM Cut as thanks. I evolve Dismay into a Nidoqueen using my Moonstone, making her slightly more tolerable. I also teach her Dig so that she can actually do damage in the next gym. I then cut my way to the gym and proceed to waste 30 minutes on this stupid puzzle. Dismay does well against Lieutenant Surge at first, but as per usual, she disappoints me and can't finish the job. So Jerry has to pick up the slack. With that, I receive my third gym badge and the TM for Shockwave. Afterwards, I headed to Route 11, where I encountered a sparrow and named it Pecker. At the end of Route 11, my path is blocked by this big boy. So I backtrack and fight some trainers for a bit before entering Diglett Cave, where I catch, well, a Diglett. Who would have guessed? And because I'm a mature and sophisticated adult, I give it the appropriate name of
PP.
After finally exiting Diglett Cave, I find myself back on Route 2. I then talk to this dude who gives me the TM for Flash. I went back through Diglett Cave and up to Cerulean City, where I exchanged my bike voucher for a new bicycle. With my new BMX bike, I head over to Route 9. I battled a few trainers, but they were of no issue. I encounter a Voltorb who I catch and name off-brand. I then enter Rock Tunnel. The darkness scares me, so I use Flash. Told a few hikers and maniacs, but they were no match for Bob. Once my repel ran out, I encountered a Geodude who I named Chad. After escaping Rock Tunnel, I head on over to Lavender Town, but I don't stay long since I don't have the Silph Scope. On Route 8, I fought some trainers and luckily encountered a Growlithe that had the ability Intimidate. I named it Clifford. Everything was going great until this happened.
What? No! Oh my god.
With a grieving heart, I finally make it to Celadon City. I go to this rooftop and receive an Eevee, who I name Moist. I then buy a Firestone and a Water Stone, and evolve Moist into a majestic Vaporeon.
Nice.
This dude was acting sus at the casino, so I talked to him, but he attacked me, so I have to act in self-defense. After pressing this hidden switch, a secret passageway is revealed, and it takes me to Team Rocket's hideout, where I get dizzy, defeat some grunts, obtain the lift key, get dizzy some more, before finally facing Giovanni. His Kangaskhan almost kills Moist, but Moist is too slippery to die, finishes off Kangaskhan with a quick attack, winning me the battle. I get the Silph Scope as a prize. I then move on to Route 16, where I cut my way into a path that takes me to this girl's house, who gives me the TM for Fly. But unfortunately, since Heimlich is dead, I can't use it. I then talk to this old lady, who gives me some coffee, so now the gods can finally shut up about being thirsty. I then return to Lavender Town and enter the Pokemon Tower. I then meet Stinky, who is mourning the death of his Raticate. Anyway, he challenges me again and I wipe the floor with him as usual. After that, I make my way up the tower. I face a couple of channelers and find myself a Ghastly who I name Silent but Deadly. I'm then spooked by a ghost who actually turns out to be a Marowak. But it doesn't matter if the enemy Pokemon is dead or alive, Jerry's teeth can munch on anything. After defeating a few grunts, I'm able to save Mr. Fuji. He takes me to his house and gives me the Poke Flute as thanks. Outside the 4th gym, I catch this old man being a creep. Clifford burns the trainers to the ground and sweeps most of Erika's team, but couldn't quite finish the job, so Jerry had to give him a helping bite. After her defeat, Erika gives me my 4th gym badge and the TM for Giga Drain. Afterwards, I returned to Route 16, and now that I have the Poke Flute, I could finally wake up the Snorlax at the gate with a sweet melody. I didn't catch it and name him Big Chungus. I then arrive at the Cycling Road, where I take some time to level up my Pokemon, during which Bob finally blossoms into a Venusaur, and Caesar finally channels her inner rage and becomes a Primeape. I then catch a Doduo and name it Triforce. I entered the Safari Zone at Fuchsia City and made my way to this guy's house, who gives me the TM for Surf. I teach it to Moist and Dismay. I had some steps left, so I run into the grass and encounter an Execute. And since I love eggs in the morning, I named them Breakfast. I wanted to take on Koga, but then I realized my team was a bit underpowered at the moment. Koga has high 30 to low 40 Pokemon, so I go back to my good old friend Grass and level up for a few hours. Once I was happy, I entered the gym. The trainers were no trouble though, and Dismay finally makes herself useful by sweeping Koga's team. Koga then gives me my 5th gym badge and the TM for Toxic. After a quick stop at the Pokemon Center, I visit this old man and return his teeth. As thanks, he gives me the TM for Strength. I then bike my way to Saffron City and talk to Mr. Psychic, who gives me the TM for Psychic. I then entered Silphco. It was overrun with Team Rocket, so I defeated them and leveled up my Pokemon, finding the card key in the process, and coming across Stinky again. As usual, he takes another L. I fight Giovanni again, but Dismay sweeps his entire team. I think I might have been a little too harsh on you. The president is very grateful and gives me a Master Ball. I enter Sabrina's gym and spin my way to her, but I stupidly switched into Big Chungus, thinking that he could tank at least 2 Psychics from a calm-minded Alakazam. I was very wrong. Rip Chungus, you were a real one, but Dismay was able to avenge him, giving us our 6th gym badge and the TM for Calm Mind. After that, I used Pecker to fly back to Pallet Town and then use Moist to surf to Route 21, where I encounter a Tentacle and name it Splatoon, and battle all the swimmers there before arriving at Cinnabar Island to find the gym closed. So I go to the lab and revive an Aerodactyl and name it JJ. I then enter the Pokemon Mansion. I activate a statue and catch a Weezing, who I name Pollution. Fall off a cliff, activate 2 more statues before finding the hidden key. After a bit more grinding, I enter Blaine's gym, answer some complex questions, fight a few burglars before facing Blaine. Blaine is the 2nd strongest gym leader, so I'm expecting a tough fight. However, anyway, he gives me my 7th gym badge and the TM for Fire Blast. On my way out, Bill invites me on a boat trip, but I ain't got time for that, so I decline. After another grinding session, Clifford finally reaches level 49 and learns the move Flamethrower. So I finally evolve him into an Arcanine, using my Firestone to face off against the final gym leader, Giovanni. Anyway, he hands me my final gym badge and the TM for Earthquake. On Route 22, I encounter Stinky one more time, who challenges me again to a Pokemon battle, which was actually quite challenging. His Gyarados almost got me, but thanks to Moist's ability Hydrate, I was able to take the W once again. Soon after, I passed through all badge gates and progressed through Victory Road fighting all the trainers there, and finally arriving at the Indigo Plateau. Before I challenged the league, I updated my Pokemon's moves and leveled them up a little bit more. I took a deep breath and entered the Pokemon League. My first opponent was Lorelei. This battle went smoothly enough. Her Jinx and Slowbro did slow us down a little bit, but other than that, it was a relatively swift victory. My next opponent was Bruno. Much like Lorelei, he went down quickly enough, with Moist and Bob sweeping the entire team after Moist had a near-death experience. I went to the next room to face Agatha. Moist got rid of our first two Pokemon using Bite and Surf. I switched to Dismay to deal with Arbok's poison, and Clifford finished the rest with Bite and Extreme Speed. Finally, it was time to face the final and strongest of the Elite Four, Lance. Dismay took out his Gyarados using Shockwave, but couldn't quite finish off the Aerodactyl, so Moist had to help out, after barely surviving a Hyper Beam. I switch into JJ, who beautifully sweeps both Dragonairs using Fly, but unfortunately he couldn't withstand the might of a fully grown Dragonite. I sent in Caesar, hoping she could kill the Dragonite using Mega Kick, but unfortunately it didn't do enough damage, so she fell to it too. Clifford came in clutch with the Extreme Speed and were able to defeat Lance. With two fewer party members, I use up the last of my rare candies and go to challenge the Pokemon champion. I wonder who it could be.
Stinky!
Ima watashi o kitai shaite imasen de shita ne. Watashi tachi no tabi o toshite. Anata wa watashi o ijimetari iagarase o shitari shita dake desu. Anata wa watashi o nioi to yobi. Watashi no rachiketo o koroshima shita. Watashi wa mo anata ga watashi kara ubao koto o yurushimasen.
This was it, the final battle. Moist takes out Stinky's Pidgeot fairly easily. Executor puts Clifford to sleep, but Clifford wakes up and takes it out with a Fire Blast and Flamethrower. Bob barely survives a critical Rock Tomb before one-shotting Rhydon and returning to full health. After barely surviving a Psychic, Moist is able to take out Alakazam with a Bite. Bob does some damage to Gyarados, but unfortunately was taken out by a Thrash. Dismay was able to avenge Bob though, using the Shockwave. A critical Surf wasn't quite enough to kill Stinky's Charizard though, so she dies to a Fire Blast. I was really mean to you throughout our adventure, but you definitely carried your weight. I sent in Moist to kill the Charizard, but his Surf just didn't have enough power to one-shot it. But at least he was able to make Stinky use up all of his potions before swimming with the fishes himself. This was it, the moment of truth. Clifford was my last Pokemon. If his Extreme Speed didn't do enough damage to kill, then the run was pretty much over.
Yes! Yeah!
Clifford absolutely smacked the life out of Charizard. The professor then took me to register my Pokemon in the Hall of Fame, and that's how I, a Nuzlocke noob, was able to beat Pokémon Fire Red on hardcore difficulty. This video took me forever to make, so I would really appreciate it if you'd like to subscribe. This is only the beginning for this channel. My editing, my storytelling, and my audio will get a lot better from here on out, so please stick around. That being said, don't forget to leave some feedback in the comments below, and see you all next time.